It's your youest you. It's the note that you were playing when you were born. Imagine that that is your place that you resonate from. This is episode 2 and the last of this introduction series with just me as we talk about the foundation of the Living on Purpose podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can connect deeper into your own purpose. Welcome back. It's Catherine, and a huge welcome to the Living on Purpose podcast. This is a place where we discuss the importance of purpose in our lives and connect with others that have created soul-aligned offerings that build into their own personal purpose as well. I'm super excited to be back with you all today after episode 0, where we talked about the intention of the podcast, and last week's episode 1, where we talked about my discovery of my own purpose and the journey and all of the nitty-gritty details. So if you're into storytelling, if you learn best by hearing other people's real-life examples, that is a great episode to check out. Today, though, we're going to be talking more about how you can connect to your purpose, whether it's the first time you're really looking and connecting to that purpose, or if you already have sort of an idea of where you are on your journey and you want to connect in deeper to it. This is just all the tips, techniques, and things that I've found that really have helped me laid out in a very easy approach. Before we get started though, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review the Living on Purpose podcast. You can click on the notification so that you're automatically alerted when a new podcast comes out every week. When you send me your screenshot of a review to Catherine@klzmethod.com, I will send you my KLZ Method workout for the chakras. Also, as you're listening, screenshot the time of your favorite part and share it with us on Instagram at klz.method. I always love hearing from you all, and it just helps to develop further into the podcast. I'm super grateful to you and all of our amazing listeners for helping to grow this podcast and share its guests and message with more people. Before we head into the show, here is a quick word from our sponsor. The KLZ Method membership is pulling up this month with a promo code combining high-intensity interval training, boxing, and strength workouts, along with yoga, pranayama or breath work, Kundalini Kriyas, affirmation, and chakra study to bring us to the best version of ourselves. This is the opposite of slamming a caffeinated beverage, cranking up the tunes, and vacating the body while you just do it. We are bringing connection back to the body, expressing so much gratitude for this blessing that we've been given. With easily accessible, pre-recorded, and live content, joining this monthly membership and high vibe community is an absolute must. Use discount code podcast10 at checkout for $10 off the monthly membership. Now let's start the show. All right, let's dive into this content. It's so good. How to connect to your purpose. So why do we have purpose? We talked about that a little bit in episode 0, the intro to this podcast, and why is purpose important to our health, to our life? What is the benefit of having a purpose? If you missed that, go back. It's a short episode, 13 minutes, I think, where we just talk about the benefits of purpose. And in this episode, I'm really excited to share some of the things that I've done over the last few years. Some of them are very basic. Some of them are things that you probably already do or you've heard are worthwhile. But I really hope that we can talk about these things today and just go deeper into them and why they're important and how they actually work. I think sometimes when you hear the list of things like feel good, have gratitude, these kind of things, it's just so top level. And when we really understand what happens when we do those things, what happens to the energy, it really can shift our perspective on that. So let's talk about how to connect to your purpose. I have this list of things, and we're going to start with something that I highlighted from episode 1 that my dad told me. You guys remember this, right? Go where you feel good. So the best thing that you can do when you're trying to attract your own purpose, go where you feel good. Where is that place? Where do you feel your best? Do you know it? Is it a beach? Is it a jungle? Is it a certain blanket, or is it a certain kind of time of day, or is it a certain kind of meal? Where do you feel good? It doesn't always have to be these huge things. We talk about gratitude and we say, oh, I'm grateful for my family. I love that. I am very grateful for my family. But sometimes we find the same thing here where we feel good isn't really in those tropical places. Where are those tiny little corners and moments in your life where you just feel good? We talked about this a little bit in episode 1 as well. We're going to dive into it deeper. So for me, I talked about I left where I was living and I went to a whole new place. I made a major change because I really was trying to find out where I felt good. It was a big moment. I needed to make some massive changes and I went all the way down to the core. We don't always have to do it that big. We don't always have to remove ourselves and like cause this huge disruption to our lives in order to do that. But going where you feel good, that can be anywhere in your day-to-day life, carving out these moments and creating that kind of thing. And when we do that, when we feel good, what's happening is that we are creating a vibration that we desire. And these are the laws of the universe. This is how the universe works. What you create, you attract. So if you're creating a non-purposeful life, you're receiving more of that non-purposeful life. And maybe you get fed up with it. And maybe that's a good thing. Sometimes it's not always bad when we're in these kind of places to kind of have that opportunity to really see what we do and don't want. But when we're trying to cast out for and we're trying to call in what we truly desire, what we want to do is to figure out that vibration. It's just like a channel on a radio. You want to get that channel in the radio very clear. Remember the days when you had the dials that you had to kind of turn rather than now you just push the buttons? When you're tuning into that channel and you're just a little bit off so that you're not completely tuned in and then you get it and it's just crystal clear. This is what we want to do. We want to get really, really, really clear on the vibration that we want. So what is it? Are you, and make it a number and make it a thing in your mind. We have all these vibrations that we talk about. 528 is the vibration of love, and that each of the chakras has a different vibration. The sounds on the scale, each of the notes on the piano is a different vibration. So imagine you have a specific frequency that is your most you frequency that you're casting out from. It's not you when you're angry. It's not you when you're super excited and going super fast. It's your youest you. It's the note that you were playing when you were born. Imagine that is your place that you resonate from. What would that note sound like? What would that frequency be like? What would that feel like? Okay, we talk about it in terms of colors. They have vibrations and frequencies. Sound, they have vibrations and frequencies. We learned this in science, right? When we were kids. So where is that place for you? This is what we're trying to discern, because what we want to do then is once we find your frequency, we want to figure out how to maintain that frequency. And we want to figure out how to call out from that place. We want to figure out how to manifest from that place. I worked with this woman. I talked about it in episode 1 a little bit too. And she was telling me, it's like a boomerang. When you're casting out, you're manifesting, you're really calling out and sending out intentions on the new moon ceremonies and all these different things that you're doing, you're casting out correctly, but then you're dropping your vibration. And she explained it as an elevator. She said, you're like on the 17th floor when you cast out for these things. You're feeling so good, but then you are not sustaining your energy at that place. You're dropping down to like the 7th floor. And then you're like, well, where did the boomerang go? Well, the boomerang, it's coming back. It's just coming back to the 17th floor. So are you there to catch that boomerang when you're casting out for these things? That's huge. I really feel like that's one of the biggest things that is happening to a lot of people. They're casting out. Either they feel really good and they're casting out from these places that are not sustainable, or they're casting out from a place that's too low of a vibration and they're not sticking around for that. So first and foremost, what is the vibration that you want to be? You will find that note, that color, you will find that key in those moments where you could catch yourself just being like, or like, this is good. This is it. This is the spot right here. This is me. This is how I feel my best. So start to recognize or search or discover those places where you really feel that, yeah, this is it. Maybe write them down, start My Purpose journal or something like that. And once you know where it is that you feel good, then start to cast out for the things that you want. And those things that we want, this is another little tricky thing I feel like people will share, to cast out what you want. What do you want? What do you want in your life? What do you want? Well, I don't know. I want to have good health. I want to have enough resources. I want this. I want to be able to travel. We make like these lists, right? But the universe doesn't speak in lists. The universe speaks in feelings. So if you can determine how you want to feel and you can cast out for those things that you are desiring in the vibration of what it feels like, that really connects things differently. So in finding your purpose, it's not about this list of all these different things. It's how do you want to feel? Let's try a couple things here. I want to say a few words and I want you to connect with them as I say them. So close your eyes. We'll do this more and more. This will be like a little short meditation. Just a minute, I promise. But close your eyes and connect with how you feel when I imagine a life for you that feels free or liberated or limitless or super abundant. Imagine a life where you feel completely inspired, where you have all kinds of energy. Every day you wake up and you're just so fired up to get started. Imagine a life that is full of fun, well supported, with so many other people holding hands and joyfully on the same path, where you have everything that you need around you. Just take a second there, and any of those words that really popped out at you, or any other words, many other words that might be more aligned even than that with what you really want to feel in your future. If you want to write them down, you can write them down. Keep those handy though, how you want to feel. And then we start to find out what we want to do. So in episode 1, I talked about how initially when I was speaking to my guides and saying, tell them, show me my life's purpose, show me my life's purpose, show me my life's purpose, I just kept repeating it. And I would just go and feel good. So the way that I would go and feel good is I would go out into the forest and I would take a walk and I would connect with nature and I would make sure I was bundled up if it was cool out, or I would make sure that I was going to feel good. I wasn't out there walking when I was going to be too hot or too cold or didn't have water. I got all the things that I would need. I had the time organized so I didn't feel pressure that I had to get back home really quickly. And I would just go and kind of like get lost. And that felt so good to me. And then I would cast out. What's my purpose? Where is it? What is it? And I would just say that constantly. And I would watch for different signs, not just when I was in that moment, but in the moments after that, in life after that. So when we're casting out and we're in these meditative places where we are asking for this and we're meditating on it, the messages don't always come then. So it's very key to be able to know how to discern the ways of the universe, the way the universe communicates back, how angels communicate to us, numbers, lyrics of a song, somebody coming and telling you something that is literally what you were just thinking about. I think we've all kind of had those experiences in life where you just can't believe it. We call them coincidences, right? Like, oh, it's such a coincidence that that happened. These are the ways that the universe works. Finding a dime on the street that means something significant, or when feathers fall, or number sequences. All of these different ways are the signals that I've kind of followed in my life that have really brought me guidance. And when you tap into it, it's just like a relationship. When you tap into it, when you are listening, you will receive more of these signals. It's just like a relationship. If you have a best friend or a romantic relationship and you're not listening to them, they don't feel respected, they're not going to keep talking to you. They're not going to keep sharing information with you. Once you turn it on, and it doesn't happen immediately, but once you turn it on and you show that you really are listening, that you really are wanting to know, then these signals start to come. Your spirit team will speak to you. The homie trifecta is what I like to call them. The homies up there, they're waiting for you to connect with them. They're waiting to guide you and to support you. They're always with you. I had someone tell me, well, I don't have them. I don't have that relationship. Or I don't have those people in my life. And I had to argue back. This was like a high executive in the corporate space that was telling me that he didn't have these people. Yes, you do. You just have not connected with them. Everybody has them. They're all there. So having those guides around and communicating with them will be very supportive. Just to bring it back though, let's take it back to what we've said so far. So we have a good understanding of how we want to feel. We know where to go and do that. We know that we're calling out for at that vibration the things that we want. We know that we're supported. The next thing that starts to happen is as you're casting out and saying, what's my purpose in this place where you feel good? Watch it transform and shift. Watch new words or a new intention start to come in. So for example, when I was manifesting what is my life's purpose, it started to change where it did start to show up and I started to know what I wanted to feel like. I know I want to feel like I'm making a difference in the world. I know I want to help other people. I know I want to do it with other like-minded people. I know I want to have fun while I'm doing it. I know I want it to be massively abundant. So just knowing those things and calling out from it from that place started to shift things. And then things start to get kind of exciting because you can start to see where you have already made changes, right? You can start to see the growth. It's so cool when you can start to see, wow, this is making an impact. This is starting to happen. This is starting to shape up. And then you get to create gratitude around that and it starts to kind of propel you forward even further. As things start to happen and things seem to be picking up steam, it's important to not be lured into this feeling like you've got it all figured out. And it's going to happen anyhow. I'm just going to give you a little hint to it. I wish I would have known this more. I should have predicted it knowing myself. I like to feel like I've got it all figured out, right? It's just human nature. It's security. We want to feel like we know what we're doing. So in my journey, when I started to feel like I was catching some momentum, I'm like, woohoo, I think I've got this. All right, fine. It's personal training. Let's do the personal training. I'm going to start training. And I tell you, I was going to train a few different people and they didn't show up. It's really surprising. Like, what the heck is going on? How could this be the thing? And now people aren't showing up. I thought I was supposed to be doing this. How can this not be? And whether you do or don't know the reason why things don't work out, it's important to just kind of watch this as a movie playing out. You're not going to always know the reasons why right in that moment. And maybe you never will, What this does for you, it's not a bypass. It's not you just saying, oh, well, whatever. It's not you letting the universe off, like letting them off without an explanation or something. It's you letting this flow, being in flow state without having to hold on to and knowing all the answers. So when I'm being shown this and I feel like I'm doing the right thing and then the door slammed in my face 3 times, it's kind of like, well, that doesn't make sense. Who knows why? You're not going to know. Maybe it's a timing thing. Maybe there's a lesson you need to learn. Who even knows? Watching your life as if it were a movie is just so important for this because it really takes you back a step from feeling like you're completely in the driver's seat, which is where we always want to be there, right? We always want to be in complete control. It's just human nature. We want to feel like we've got things under control. And life isn't that way. Going through this and doing everything related to a personal training journey and doing all the things that I thought I was supposed to do, and then having to have a hip replacement surgery after being invested in this and feeling like I'm following all the signs, how in the heck would I be having a hip replacement surgery if I'm on my right course? And the answer is you are on your course. You're just being given a deeper lesson now. You're just being given the next level. You've got that part figured out. Now we're going to take you deeper. And that hip replacement surgery, as much as it was initially confusing, and trust me, it made me pretty mad. I was not interested in doing anything that I just couldn't understand it for a long time. When you go through those things, though, there's generally a deeper lesson available if you can stay nimble enough, if you can stay interested in just watching from a third-party perspective and saying, wow, this is plot twist. What is the lesson here? What could possibly be happening in this situation? For me, it really taught me a lot about the softer side of myself, and it took me from what I was doing with my personal training into a more gentle approach, into that more feminine side of things where I could balance out and really bring in the true essence of what my purpose was with connecting into the body and using the body as a high precision tool to connect with our deepest meaning and purpose. So the whole hip replacement and the healing and everything that's happened as a result has really brought me closer. And there will be things like this that happen in your life as you are combing through your own purpose. And that's just life. It's really interesting, and just to stay intrigued in those moments and fascinated with the layers. Have your anger, of course, express your feelings about things. It's okay to have that part too. But overall, as you're on your journey with your purpose, allowing the space that feels like maybe you're going backwards to happen, because a lot of the times it's just shifting gears and bringing you into a new depth or a new understanding or a new way of doing things. This is how we come up with this next level offering. This is how we come into the new world, is really staying connected to our own selves and embodying these new ways of living. It has to come from a place of deep connection. It can't come just from the brain. It has to come from connecting all of the layers together. Our deep purpose and opportunities for growing and changing the planet in a beautiful way are all available, but we have to stay connected. So letting go of the finality of those situations, and that's not the end of your story. It wasn't, oh, she went out and she asked for her purpose and she found some of her purpose and she started to follow the path, and then she thought it was this and she started to do that, and then end of the story, she had to have a hip replacement, and that was it. That was all. That was the end of it. It's not the way stories go. It's a continual story. And when we are doing those things, we're just going deeper. So just to quickly review, let's go back and highlight these again. Go where you feel good. Know how you want to feel. Talk to your guides. Watch for and learn the signs. Feel deep gratitude to actual things and manifest from there. Don't take any of the things that pull you backwards as the final answer. Get intrigued in your life as if it were a movie that you're watching. Ask for what you want while you're in a good frequency. These are just a few of the many, many ways that I like to connect into my own purpose. This was episode 2. I hope you enjoyed it as we come closer to pursuing our own purpose in life. My favorite techniques, and just knowing that this life is a journey. There'll be so many more things. I really hope we can share them together. Please go and rate, review, turn on the notifications for the podcast. Share this with anyone that you feel like it would resonate with, and start to share this word about the power of purpose. Join us next week as we begin to bring others onto this podcast. I'm really excited for this, and I hope to see you there.